You're going on tour for the first time in 5 years. How come?
Yes, ma'am. Well, why? I toured just about every year since my teenage life up until '76, and frankly, I just had enough. It was no longer enjoyable. I think just plodding around the world, going from hotel to hotel is no fun at the best of times. And it's vegetating to a certain extent. So much of the day is taken up with just moving around, packing suitcases and getting out and getting in. And one looks forward to the show in the evenings, but when the show doesn't start to mean much anymore because you've just been doing it and doing it and doing it, you have to question why bother? Is this really worth it? So I stopped for a good 5-6 years. So this will be my first tour for that.
And why do you feel ready to do it now?
Because now I'm excited about the idea of performing.
How do you keep? I mean, doesn't success, in a way, I see it among people even in my field.
Yeah.
The more successful you get, the more you're encouraged to do the same thing over and over. The more you associate with people who are successful, who become kind of homogenized and aren't hungry anymore, aren't interested. Why do some people keep their curiosity and passion? Or is there any way that you can structure? I mean, how do you? Yeah, are you excited about going back to music now?
Yeah, as you say, it is difficult to not avoid being involved in a set of people who are in the same kind of area and at the same position as you. I made a very stringent effort to remove myself from the rock and roll circus, per se. I've not really had that many dealings with rock people on a social level for the 5 years or so. I moved back into Europe. I went to Berlin for 3 years, lived in Berlin, which for me was therapeutic. I needed it at the time because I'd been sort of lost in the Los Angeles cocoon of
you're also
psychophancy.
You're also a responsible father raising a child. Does this change your
perspective? A lot.
I mean, give you a little something that...
It changes a lot. I think when you're young and you're determined to crack the big dream of I have a big statement and the world is to hear my statement and all that, there's something very irresponsible about your attitude to the future. There's a non-recognition that the future exists. I think it's very important for youth to have that. I think it's the anger and the excitement and the enthusiasm of the moment is a real starting point for any person in their further outlook to life. But there becomes a slow change, and a child brings that with a new viewpoint. That, for me, my son always keeps bringing me back to I keep remembering that there is a tomorrow. When that never really occurred to me before, that there was a tomorrow. Tomorrow, it was really, this is it, this is now, this is important. Everything else is crazy and static and it means nothing, or everything's impermanent, therefore I will just live for the second.
So do you worry about the world he's inheriting?
Yes, of course, naturally, that's the natural thing that follows. And one has to start taking very positive stands on things, as long as one knows all the information.
You think it's possible?
Yes, of course it is. It's just as easy to say yes to something and yes to being positive. It's much easier, frankly, I think, to be nihilistic than to be negative. It's always an easier
Well, there's no follow-through to it, so
no,
you can just
it's a much
lay back and say, watch it happen, and if you don't participate, it's always easier not to get called.
And it will happen. It's an accumulative device. The more that you write about the negative, the more that you increase the currency value of negativity. If you decide and make a decision to write positively, then you are contributing to whatever is left that is positive in life. So it just all has to be as a greater decision by more people to be more positive about the more positive things in life.
Do you like being famous?
That's always interested me as well, the aspect of really crying out for attention when you first start, and then when you receive it, you don't want it anymore. So you do your best to sort of avoid interviews and avoid being photographed. And there's a time in your life when you give your right arm to be photographed and asked your opinion. And so I guess that aspect of it I find tiresome. Yeah.
But you can get a seat in a restaurant. That makes it easier.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I think for me it was important to be asked my opinion or be photographed, so that in turn that would make me as a performer be listened to. And now that, frankly, I've got a position where that I can present my work and know it'll be received, I don't really feel it's necessary to have the other thing, but unfortunately life isn't like that.
But it also gives you access to people and events and things you might not necessarily have. I find that is nice.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. If one can become light-hearted enough about it and not find it a burden or anything.
You seem much more light-hearted than you used to be.
Yeah.
Are you happier now?
Yeah, but yeah, frankly, very happy.
Yeah. So don't look so sad. What else
Happiness is a serious question.
This is true. This is true. We shouldn't dwell on it any further.
I've never seen you unhappy.
I'm a much more shallow
disprove
person. What did I tell you? No, that's true. That's true. I work very hard at being happy.
It's true. That's really true. My God.
I'm basically pretty happy. I'm not content necessarily. I don't know anything. I know less and less the older I get. But it's good to be able to hit the lows, because if you don't hit the lows, you can't hit the highs. You know, so it's nice. I always think that when I'm thinking, well, this is so awful, it can't get any worse. It means that, you know, coming out of it will be so much fun.
Can you finish this dialogue and be enthusiastic about it?
I don't know. What?
Well, thank you for taking time out from your studies at
Mr.
university.
Bowie, thank you for inviting me.
We look forward to your thesis. And,
thank you. And the best of luck to you in your new career.